zero product property. If the product of two real numbers is zero, so if you're multiplying two things together and it's equal to zero, then at least one of the numbers has to be zero. So either one of them is zero or both of them are zero. We're going to do two examples of this. So you have two products, you have a product here. These two factors, x minus 1 and x minus 5, multiply together to get 0, which means that either one of them or both of them have to be 0. So when you see this, you need to set these equal, both of them equal to 0. Either x plus 1 equals 0 or x minus 5 equals 0. We're going to figure out what those values could be. So we're solving both equations. On the left, we have adding 1, so we'll subtract and get negative 1. On the right, we're subtracting 5, so we will add 5 and get positive 5. Now, if you remember from Friday, we are solving quadratics. Where are the solutions to a quadratic again? What are they? The x-intercepts. And so what we're solving here, when I say solve, I'm asking you to solve for the x-intercepts. You just did that. You solved for x. These are the x-intercepts of this quadratic. If you were to multiply this out, x times x times negative 5, 1, and so on, if you multiplied it out, you get a quadratic. So this is a quadratic. We can write our two x-intercepts. Our x-intercepts are negative 1, 0, and 5, 0. Next one. So likewise, set both of those equal to 0 because we are solving for the x-intercepts. Now I don't want your answer in decimals. Let's leave them as fractions. Serenity, what to do first on that equation on the left?
You add 2 to the other side.
Yep, add 2. And so I get 7n equals 2. Kirsten, what next? And so leave your answer as a fraction. We're going to leave it as 2/7. So that one is 2/7, comma 0. Okay. Solve the other one, so we'll add 4 first and get 5n equals 4. And then we'll divide by 5. So you get 4/5. Do not give me a decimal. So this one is at 4/5, comma 0. That is a zero product property. You solve both. Since we are solving a quadratic, we write them as x-intercepts. Cool. Now, on to factoring. We've done this before. To solve by factoring. Those are your steps on the poster on the board of just factoring. But to solve by factoring, you got to do a couple things first. You got to first make sure the quadratic is in standard form. So ax squared plus bx plus c. If you want to write that down. So standard form is this. Then you have to set y equal to 0 if it's not already, because you're solving for the x-intercepts. And that's where y equals 0. Then factor and do the zero product property and write your answer as points. So we'll set both factors equal to 0 or all three and solve. Okay, we're going to jump right in. We have factored before, so if you were shaky on factoring in our last unit, it's time to learn. So pay close attention. Most of us really got it, but there's a few of us who still don't have it. Okay, first look. Is this in standard form? Ax squared plus bx plus 0. I know it's not x's, but is it standard? Yeah, okay. Is y equal to 0? It is, actually. This is y. So y is already equal to 0 for you. Cool. So the first two things are done. The equation set equal to 0 is in standard form. So we're going to factor. First thing we check for, is there a GCF between those three terms? Between 2a squared, negative 15a, and 18. Is there anything they can all divide by? No. Okay, the next thing we check for is a, that's the one in front of x squared, or a squared, is a equal to 1? No, a equals 2. All right, so since a is not 1, we have to multiply a times c. Remember this? A times c. So I'm doing 2 times c, which is 18. 36. We need two numbers that multiply to AC. So two numbers that multiply to positive 36 and add up to what? Negative 15. So I have to multiply to this one and add to this one. Discuss, please, what could those two numbers be? If you're not sure, you could start dividing in your calculator by 2, by 3, by 4. Think about some factors of 36. We're going to have two negatives. So 1 times 36, 2 times what? That'd be 2 times 18. What about 3? 3 times 12. You can do 4 times 9. Negative 6 times negative 6. Okay, which of these is the one I want? Negative 3 times negative 12. Okay, this is where we take our b term and we split it up into those two numbers. So we have our 2, it's negative 12, and negative 3. Now we take negative 15a and we split it up. I'm going to do this on the, just to the right of this. So it was this, now it's going to be 2a squared. Which one should I put next to 2a squared? The 12 or the 3? 12, that makes more sense, because it has more in common with the 2. Then minus 3a. So we are splitting up, remember we're splitting up the negative 15a, which is why now both of them have an a. We're splitting up this term. Okay, back to what we're doing. And then plus 18 equals 0. I'm going to leave the 0 there just so you remember after you're done you have to set them equal to 0. Then you factor by grouping. If we take out the GCF of both, there's a plus sign in between this. What's the GCF of the first parentheses? 2a. So take out 2a. And you have, if I do that, divide both of them by 2a, I would get a be minus 6. What's the GCF of the second parentheses? 3, but we want to take out a negative 3 because it's negative 3a. So we're going to take out plus 3, sorry, minus 3. I just said that, didn't I? And I messed it up. Which would give us a minus 6 again. Remember, that's what you want. You want them to be the same. We're kind of ignoring this equals 0 right now, but it's important. We'll need it at the end. So my two factors are 2a minus 3 and a minus 6. I hope this is coming back to you. I hope you haven't forgotten it. And those are equal to 0. Okay. Now we need to set both those equal to 0 and actually get the x-intercepts. So this is a quadratic written in what we call intercept form. So we'll have two equations. We'll have 2a minus 3 equals 0. and another a minus 6 equals 0. Notice I'm setting both my factors equal to 0. Solve both. Kevin, what do I gotta do first on the one on the left? Yep, we're going to add 3. So then I get 2a equals 3. Kayla, what next? On 2a equals 3. Divide by 2. So you get a equals 3 halves, and you write it as a point. The other one's pretty easy. You add 6. So your other x-intercept is at 6, 0. That's the longest factoring one we'll do. That's the only one we're going to do that's AC grouping. So if you like to do AC grouping, you can do it every time. But that's the only one we're going to see today. You have to do it this way. Okay? So I know that's long. Okay, the other 4 should be quicker. Same process, we always start by checking for a GCF. Oh wait, we always start by actually, is it in standard form? X squared plus x minus 20, is that standard? Yep. Is y set equal to 0 yet? No, that's the first thing you need to do. 0 equals x squared plus x minus 20. Can someone remind me, why am I setting y equal to 0? Find the x-intercepts. Okay, good. Now we're going to factor, is there a GCF? Nope. Is a equal to 1? Yes. So this is where you get to take a shortcut. You just need 2 numbers that multiply to negative 20 and add to b, 1. What are the 2 numbers that multiply to negative 20 and add to 1? Someone think they got it? Not? Discuss around you. Think about what are some factors of 20, negative 20. Have to multiply to negative 20 and add to 1. Joe, what would they be?
5 and negative 4.
5 times negative 4 equals negative 20, and those add to 1. This is where you get to take a shortcut, yay. So I can write this as x plus 5 times x minus 4. You have your 2 factors, set them both equal to 0, and find the x-intercepts. So this one equals 0. And this one equals 0. You solve both equations. And then once you have your x-intercepts, you write them as points, please. All right. Next one. First thing, is this in standard form? Is it ax squared plus bx plus c? No. You got to get that 49 over there to the other side. How could I move it over? Add 49. So we want this to be equal to 0. We also want it to be in standard form. That would give us x squared plus 14x plus 49 equals 0. There we go. That's better. Is there a GCF?
A is 1.
Yes, it is. Is there a GCF? Nope. A is equal to 1 though, so you just have to find 2 numbers that multiply to 49 and add to 14. That's an easy one, I hope. What are they? 7 and 7. Okay. So we write this as x plus 7 times x plus 7 equals 0. Now, do I really need to solve both of these? No. Because they're going to be the same. So you just have to do one. We're solving that one for x. What will we get? -7, comma 0. So this has one solution. So that's actually the vertex of this one. Okay, the last two are special, kind of. And so they're actually quicker. This guy right here. Is this currently in standard form? Yes, kind of. Is it equal to 0 though? No. How could I make it equal to 0?
Add 7?
I could add 7. Because if I add 7, then I get this. That's better. You have to see this. Need y equal to 0 before you start. Now you can factor, is there a GCF? What?
N?
Yes, there is. It's n. Guys, this makes your life so much easier. N, if I take out an n, then I have what left? 3n. What about the second term? Plus 1. Equals 0. You have to set both of these equal to 0. There are two factors here. There is n, so n equals 0, and 3n plus 1 equals 0. So not just the ones in parentheses. Also, if you have a GCF out front, you have to set that equal to 0. So this one's already done. That was easy. So one of your x-intercepts is at 0, 0. You have to solve the other equation. Leave your answer as a fraction, please. Don't give me a decimal. You get -1/3. So -1/3 is 0. Okay, and the very last one. The very last one's a special case. It's a difference of perfect squares. 49 is a perfect square. This is in standard forms, already set equal to 0. What's the square root of 49? 7. So it's going to be x plus 7, x minus 7. But if you didn't catch that, what's the b term here? It is 0. So you could rewrite it like this if you want. B is 0. A is 1. So you need two numbers that multiply to -49 and add to 0. They would have to be what? -7, +7. So you do get x plus 7, x minus 7. That's a special case, so you could automatically go there right away and make it a lot faster. And then you have to solve both. You might be able to start doing this in your head, like this part of it, and if so, that's great. Your two x-intercepts are at -7, 0 and +7, 0.